The commercial money is there. It's not going to go away. It's still efficient. It satisfies a lot of our needs. We're just saying with e-Naira, you even have a lot more conveniences that you could use.
It's as if this program will not end, but it will soon end because we have like less than 3 minutes to go. And I'm seeing other questions from people, of course, sending to our text messages. Please, I would like to know if it is possible to make purchases online from foreign stores with the e-Naira.
Interesting. So for now, we're launching e-Naira in Nigeria. If they are pricing their goods in e-Naira, then I would say yes. But if they are pricing their goods in the foreign currencies, then the same situation will obtain, you know. Okay, so when will this be for public use? Let's go over it again. When will the central bank digital currency in Naira be for public use? It will start 1st October this year. 1st October. 12 days to go. 12 days, that's why we're doing it. So you have to, you know, be attentive. So a bank account will be a prerequisite to access the e-Naira? Yes, for 1st October. For 1st October. Would individuals and companies also hold accounts? Yes, from 1st October. Okay, so I can have an e-Naira account linked to my bank account. Yes. Nancy Naji. Yes. Then my company, Nancy and Sons and Daughters Limited, would also. Yes, you are two different legal entities. Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. I wish we can't let you go, but we've got to because we've done a few minutes. I know there are many questions coming in, especially from our viewers, but keep them coming, just like you've heard her say. 12 days to the launch of CBN's e-Naira. We'll continue to see how it unfolds, and we'll continue to definitely engage with them. Keep sending the messages to us. Our phone number's on the screen already. I can see it. Keep sending those messages. The one we can answer in-house, we would answer. The ones we can't, we hand it over to them, and they give us the answers, and we give to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for having me. I've been speaking with Rekia Mohammed. She is the Director of Information Technology Department at the Central Bank of Nigeria. We've been looking at the launch of CBN's e-Naira, trying to understand what the e-Naira is about. This is the best place to be for you to understand financial and economic issues. And I hope that we'll be able to do that with this topic this morning. Let's quickly take a break. When we come back, I'll be looking at another aspect of markets and economic issues. We'll be right back.
Mini-Me, taste the fun.
Welcome back. Now to our next conversation. The Central Bank of Nigeria says that the country's digital currency will be launched on October 1st. And this after the regulator had been conducting research towards the launch of digital currencies since 2017. Nigeria is not the only country on this project, and like in other countries, the CBN had banned cryptocurrency transactions by banks, and some other countries have hinted on tightened regulation on cryptocurrency. But what will this digital currency mean to Nigeria? Senator Heya, President Stakeholders in Blockchain Technology Association of Nigeria, joins us now. Great to have you on the program. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so I don't know what it's going to be called. Maybe Naira coin, e-Naira. You know, whatever it is, but paint a picture. How is this actually going to work? Is this going to complement, you know, the Naira, or do we see maybe the e-currency actually taking over at some point?
Or just as an investment?
Exactly. All right. You know, when it comes to payments and the general financial system in the country, you find that the CBN has made quite a lot of efforts in ensuring that Nigeria's payments and financial service system is quite competitive if you look at it from the global angle. And that, I have to commend the CBN from the regulatory policy perspective. The CBN has been trying to ensure that Nigerians can have very globally competitive payment systems. Now, the picture of e-Naira, where did that start from? A lot of people were shocked that the CBN has said as early as October 1,
myself,
it will be able to launch the pilot scheme. And when did they start? So the thing is, like every other country out there when it comes to the emergence or development of central bank digital currencies, the idea is this. First, there seems to be lower pressure on the use of cash. A lot of people are using electronic means of payments increasingly. Secondly, there's the idea that users or people generally now seem to also be embracing private electronic currencies or digital currencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all of that. And that has its own risk and threats as far as the financial system is concerned. And then there's the issue of also enabling a system whereby you don't just have the financial institutions intermediating between the central bank and the users, the customers. Over the years, people are now looking at the situation where we could remove the intermediaries and have the central bank bank Nigerians or citizens directly. Yeah. And so the idea of central bank digital currency, if you look at it from a defensive angle, it is to ensure that the central bank is in control of the financial system in a manner that it can control its monetary policy effectively, its fiscal policy effectively. If it doesn't take that charge, it might be opening itself to the risk and vulnerabilities and all the vagaries that comes with adoption of, But I'm
curious, how do you think the wallets will actually work?
Yes.
Because, we have, Bitcoin wallets and Ethereum wallets. So, with this central bank digital currency, do we expect to have wallets just like it is with Bitcoin? And should we expect airdrops?
All right. Well, I wouldn't be able to speak for the central bank, but I was privileged to be part of those stakeholders who were invited by the technical working committee of the central bank digital currency in Nigeria to participate in a stakeholder engagement in my capacity as the president of CBAN. And I listened to the head of the IT at central bank present what ideas the central bank has as far as the e-Naira is concerned. And it was pretty interesting. First, the idea of the e-Naira is to enable central bank drive certain policies. Policies around remittances. They're looking at more efficiency around that area. Policy around cross-border transactions as well. Policies around tax allocation or tax management, right? And then, of course, generally improving the payment systems, right? Now, how does that going to work? The technology part, that's the issue now. And according to the ICT head, in terms of technology, the central bank is actually looking at the blockchain, not just any database technology, but blockchain. And it has said that this is based on the design, it thinks is best for the e-Naira. Now, since it's going to be blockchain, then there has to be wallets. And if you look at other central banks, what they have been looking at is, hey, there are two types of central bank digital currencies. Which one should we go for? So there's the retail CBDC, which allows that relationship directly from the central bank to the citizens. And then there's the wholesale CBDC, which allows the banks and the financial institutions to play that intermediating role between the central bank and the citizens. So the first thing that any central bank thinks about is, which one should we go for? For Nigeria, from what we found out from the stakeholders' engagements, it's neither here nor there. It's an hybrid system. So they have said, hey, we're adopting an hybrid system whereby the banks, especially commercial banks, you know, we don't want to remove them from this banking and financial services relationship. Because if you look at the idea or the importance of liquidity that the bank depositors provide, you want to be sure that you are not removing the deposit banks from that relationship. Otherwise, there will be more risk.
That's actually...
Yes, so that's the hybrid system.
Yeah.
So it's an hybrid system.
Right.
So you allow the financial institutions play their role. At the same time, the retailers, retail citizens are able to also participate in a more open, transparent, faster, more cost-effective.
So who are the targets here? Because I like to look at reality.
Yes.
I mean, let's get away from all the, you know, the paperwork and the proposals, and I like to look at the reality. When we talk of e-payments, financial inclusion, already we have, I mean, we're not doing as much as some other African countries because of access. You know, now this seems more sophisticated than, you know, the normal e-payment systems that we have. So what is the essence of this? Who are the targets? What do we hope to achieve? Or do we just want to do it to compete with cryptocurrency?
How do we get the grassroots to also participate?
You understand? And majority of us are the grassroots. So,
Exactly.
I mean,
that's a good question. And a lot of people have been wondering about that, including some of the stakeholders at the last engagement with the CBN. This more like dropped from the sky for many people.
Right.
And so there are many questions out there. That's in terms of why do we need this right now? I think that the CBN did not start getting into this now. I think it started in 2017.
yeah, they said the research started in 2017.
In 2017. Yeah. If it started in 2017, coincidentally or curiously, it was also in 2017 the CBN got involved in this cryptocurrency activity. It was in 2017, January precisely, the CBN said, hey, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others are not legal tender.
Oh, yes,
stay clear of it. Yeah. That was it. So
and then now that the banks cannot...
So, yes, so it's an interesting coincidence that at the same time that the CBN went into research into CBDC, it's the same time that that warning came. Oh, all right? So perhaps, maybe the CBN hasn't said anything about this, but it's not going to be strange if it is so, because if you go to other countries, Cambodia, for instance, which now has its own digital currency real, Cambodia, they came out outrightly and said, hey, we don't understand this cryptocurrency stuff. If we allow it to keep getting bigger while we're here, we might just run our financial system into some very, very bad situation.
So in order to put up what they will understand, they had this.
Exactly.
So I think the CBN has to tell us, because a lot of Nigerians are involved in cryptocurrency as investment, you know, as a source of income. So is this just supposed to distract people from that? Or are you giving us an alternative, you know, to what cryptocurrency or Bitcoin and all of that? I mean, even when the banks are banned, people still go into it. They do peer-to-peer and things like that. So, I mean, what are we doing with this?
You know, one of the most interesting things about the adoption of blockchain technology across the world is that we find that the peculiarities or experiences of each country come to play. So you find, for instance, if you go to places like China, China's peculiarities, and you know, it's all about control. They want control. So Bitcoin, get out of the room. Hey, get out of the room. They want all the control. Right. Right? Now, if you go to places like Jamaica, Jamaica is not all about control. They are more citizen focused. And so, how can we open up the financial system in a way that there can be new players in the system and also deepen financial inclusion? So countries like Jamaica, Cambodia, they're on that table. Theirs is not about government control and how you want to, you know, censor anyone. It's basically about, hey, this money we call the legal tender is not getting out there because of this way the system works. The banking system with its KYC and AML issues, you know, up to 20, just about 22% of citizens in Cambodia.
About? China is about control. Jamaica is about getting. What is Nigeria about? You were at the stakeholders meeting. They expect you to have answers. You should have asked these questions. We need to know.
Now, when it comes to Nigeria, right? From what we see, I think the central bank is concerned about the continued adoption of cryptocurrencies in Nigeria.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's all over the place, right? And it's getting bigger. Even after the ban, so-called ban, in quotes, the restriction, right, which was released by the central bank in February, guess what? It has gone even bigger. So people are not stopping in any way. So it's all about, I think it's all about how can we defend the system and provide an alternative in a way that all those, I mean, look at our remittances, right? I think one of the concerns the CBN had was remittances. It looks like remittances are now going through other corridors, apart, I mean, away from the central banking system. And it could be Bitcoin doing all that. It could be Ethereum.
All right, Senator, let's just, I want you to look into your crystal ball. See the e-Naira, gets launched, everybody's using it, other countries start, using their own digital currencies. What happens to Bitcoin?
All right, crystal ball. All right.
Yeah.
So this is it. If we understand that one of the main purposes for which e-Naira or CBDCs have been introduced in the first place is because of the attack, quote and unquote, from private currencies like Bitcoin. My crystal ball tells me that all over the world where we have CBDC in focus by the central banks, we should not expect very friendly regulation when it comes to adoption of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, so that there will be no competition. I mean, it's almost natural that you cannot create a competitor for your own system,
your own product, yes.
right? And I think that's the way China has been looking at it. But that would be the wrong way about it, if you ask me. Because if you go to places like the US, where they are also having this conversation, the US is very concerned about the potentials of cryptocurrencies themselves as crypto assets, not as currency. And so if you go to the US, there's, unlike here, a lot of focus is usually from the SECN, the Securities and Exchange Commission. Why? Because Bitcoin, they are essentially assets, not really currencies.
Digital gold.
So I mean, it shouldn't be a competition to e-Naira then.
Yeah, yes,
because I think one of the focus of the CBN is to have the project as a legal tender.
Exactly, as a legal tender.
Yes.
So it shouldn't be a competition. Right. So what we should be seeing, or I expect that we see, is that the federal government is going to take a more comprehensive look at this and bring all the financial regulators to the table, including the stakeholders, of course, and say, all right, as far as cryptocurrencies are concerned, the Bitcoin, all of them, they are not really money, right? How about we have a conversation with the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission? 2020, September, the Securities and Exchange Commission came up and said, we believe that cryptocurrencies are digital innovations, financial innovations.
The Vice President has made statements, to give it a chance.
So what I expect is that as Nigerians embrace e-Naira for the purpose of payments, cross-border transactions, remittances, and all of that, I also expect that the conversation on the better regulatory approach to cryptocurrency adoption would also be going on by the sides, especially one that is championed by this SEC, not the central bank. If you
because
go all
across
it
as assets,
not as money. All right, so that's it.
Digital gold.
Digital gold.
Well, quite an interesting conversation. I will be looking at the 1st of October to see the launch.
We're all looking forward to it.
e-Naira, you having e-Naira, I having e-Naira. That'll be quite interesting.
You know what I'm saying. Well, thank you so much, Senator, for joining us this morning and for sharing your thoughts with us and giving us some tips from the stakeholders meeting that we had.
Always a pleasure. Anytime.
Central Bank.
Mini-Me, taste the fun. Mini-Me, taste the fun.
The CBN just announced that they'll be releasing some guidelines on the e-Naira, aka Nigeria's digital currency. And in this video, that's what we'll be discussing. If you've been online at all in any moment and you of course live in Nigeria, or maybe you are Nigerian, well, you definitely would have seen something about this e-naira, and this should concern you. So why is it being launched and what should you do about it? This is the video to watch. In this video, I'll explore what the e-naira is and is not, what you should know about it, and what the effects might actually be for you and every single Nigerian, both positive effects and negative effects. It's kind of a big deal. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. I'd love it if you could hit that like button so more people can get to see, you know, the value that we're sharing here in this video, and you will definitely be helping someone out, you know, when you hit that like button. Welcome to another Finance Friday video in this series, and this episode is brought to you by Vault. Find out how you can be one of 5 people who gets 10,000 naira cash for free when you watch all through this video until the end. Without further ado, let's get to it. So first off, what is even the e-naira and what is the e-naira not? The e-naira is simply Nigeria's digital currency. It's the naira, but digital, as simple as that. It's not a cryptocurrency, but it uses technology for digital currencies from a company called Bit Inc. It's also called a CBDC, which means central bank digital currency. Everyone who lives in Nigeria will surely have to spend naira to access basic goods and services. It's the same way everyone in the US has to spend dollars, the same way British people have to spend pounds, and Ghanaians have to spend cedis. By the way, Ghana is also creating its own digital currency. I didn't know until I started researching for this video. So yeah, there you have it. The e-naira is set to launch in October, the 1st of October, and that day is also the day of independence for Nigeria. So it just made sense that they would, you know, embark on this project. That would be really interesting to see though. What do you guys think? Launching the currency on Independence Day? Leave a comment below. In May, I made a video about the e-naira, or Nigeria's digital currency, you know, coming soon. You see, just 2 months before I made that video in May, or in February of 2021, CBN stopped a major link in cryptocurrency, which is banks. It had the effect of banning cryptocurrency because, of course, in the multiple circulars, Nigeria did not regard cryptocurrency as money, and they said that banks must not touch cryptocurrency or enable it in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, 2 months later, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN governor, mentioned that Nigeria will be considering its own digital currency. At the height of this crypto ban, Nigeria was like the second in the world with regards to volumes of cryptocurrency being traded on Paxos platform. It showed that the parallel market was and is sort of still very strong and present in Nigeria. And there was a lot that was putting pressure on the value of the naira currency. Basically, one major way Nigeria earns foreign exchange apart from oil is remittances, people spending in dollars, pounds, and such into Nigeria. With Bitcoin, you won't be able to control who's sending what in and out of the country, and if it took over, it could render financial institutions somewhat less useful. However, I don't see that happening anytime soon, as they would definitely have to work hand in hand the way they currently are now, but we never know. We are also facing a major dilemma on the exchange rate front. A lot of the Financial Friday videos have covered this in depth, and at this point, we have hit a 530 naira to $1 all-time high. One of the reasons we couldn't get a $1.5 billion loan in Nigeria from the World Bank in June of 2021 was because of our exchange rate system. You see, there are two kinds as far as I know. I know the fixed and floating exchange rate system. Nigeria operates on a fixed exchange rate system that also has a parallel market. What this means is that the fixed rate is the official rate. Right now it's 411 and the parallel rate is 530. As at the time of making this video. The World Bank linked the loan approval to Nigeria having a predictable exchange management system. In contrast to this, a floating exchange rate is one that is determined by demand and supply, and many experts think that that 500 naira to $1 range is closer than 411 for that floating exchange to work. However, Nigeria would not accept this, and it could seemingly be bad for the economy, and devaluation just seems like an unfavorable strategy in every way. This brings us to today in September, less than a month before the e-naira launch in October, and Nigeria has started to lay down some ground rules. But before we talk about that, who is even making this e-naira? Did the CBN magically become so advanced in technology and the art of digital money making? Well, not really. There's a partner. So who is making the e-naira? A company called Bit Incorporated or Bit Inc. in partnership with the central bank will be creating this digital currency, this e-naira. Let's bring our favorite neighbors in, Ghana, which is also considering its own e-cedi. It's being built by a competitor of the guys building the ones for Nigeria. I'll leave a link below if you're interested in that. It's by a German securities printing company called G+D. The company building ours is from Barbados and they are Bit Inc. So who or what is Bit Inc. and why are they the ones building Nigeria's digital currency? So Bit Inc. is a fintech company based in Barbados that uses blockchain and distributed ledger technology to enable safe P2P transactions with seamless mobile money. Now, if all of that sounded like rubbish to you, basically their main objective is to develop payment systems for people, companies, banks, and central banks using their blockchain technology as well. The reason the CBN gave for this selection of Bit Inc. was that they were in fact selected from a highly competitive number of bidders. I believe the number of bidders were over 100, but they claim that they have chosen this company due to, tested and trusted or proven digital currency experience, which is already in circulation in several Eastern Caribbean countries. They also stated that they were chosen because they helped successfully launch the central bank digital currency for the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank in April of 2021. So they have in fact minted digital currency for a country before. One thing to note is that the company, Bit Inc., would have to register in Nigeria as a limited liability company. Basically, they have to register as a Nigerian business, and the central bank will in fact own a stake or a portion or shares in their Nigerian company. The CBN currently does own shares in some of the other companies managing our financial payment system, like NIBS, for instance, the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System. I think this helps so they can have a vote in how the currency for the Nigerian people is being managed. This could also be so one private company doesn't have the upper hand in determining the lives of our people. Anyway, if you're liking this video so far, a thumbs up would really be amazing, as it will help more people become aware of what we're sharing. And if you're learning from this, a like would be appreciated. So what is the e-naira process like? How would it scale to many people? First things first, there will be different levels or tiers of wallets, and there will be launch stages. I'll talk about these two things in a bit, but first, how would this happen? Let's talk about stages. In stage 1, the CBN says it will be responsible for issuing, distribution, redemption, and the destruction of the e-naira currency. In the second stage, we have the financial institution suite, where licensed financial institutions like banks will be able to request and issue stable coins. So yes, the e-naira will have a stable rate and it will not be able to bear interest like cryptocurrencies. When comparing to something like the dollar, for instance, the e-naira will equal the prevailing dollar rate at the time, and probably not the parallel market rates, but that's a far stretch when you consider the existence of P2P trading. The CBN says that at this second stage, these licensed financial institutions will also manage the digital currencies across branches. They will do the KYC or know your customer registration and AML or anti-money laundering compliance. So what does this mean for commercial banks? Well, commercial banks right now have a large number of products. I've been able to use many, and I've had a chance to use Vault. No, not an actual physical vault, but Vault by Polaris Bank. It's a digital banking platform you can access via smartphones and other smart devices in this era of digital innovation with regards to banking in Nigeria. My first experience with the app was seeing that I do not need to have an account with the bank to get started. I can just select that I do not have an account, fill in a couple of details, and in a few minutes, voila, I already have an account. So what makes Vault stand out is that they of course let you carry out transactions, whether or not you're a Polaris Bank customer, helping you open a bank account without the need to physically go to a bank branch. But beyond that, they offer instant payment loans. Even if you're not an existing customer, you can also get 30 days free transfer after your initial Vault app download, plus 100% hourly airtime bonus on every 833 transaction. And they did this because their USSD code is *833#. Pretty simple stuff. There's so much you can do with the USSD code. And I found out that you can even access travel allowance with the app, and you can get dollars if you want to travel. Just like I mentioned in my Finance Friday series, the whole idea is the improvement of quality of life, making regular banking needs easy to satisfy, fast and reliable. Now do download the app with my link in the description. It's available on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store for both Polaris and non-Polaris bank users. Of course, 5 people who download this app with my link in the description get 10,000 naira each. All you need to do is comment below that you downloaded the app,
as we adapt
and
to this
I'll select
unprecedented
winners at
reality
random.
and start
Terms and
journey
conditions
towards
of course
recovery.
apply.
The African
Similarly,
Economic
with an app
Congress
like
invites
Vault,
you to
you
a
do get to
televised
do a
and
lot
virtual
of these
event
things
that
that the
will bring
INARA
together
does.
innovative
But now,
leaders from all
the
sectors
INARA
of the
is
African
more like
economy.
the
It will be a
government's
platform where
super
sustainable
app, in a
solutions
way,
that
central
enhance
bank.
the African
Anyway,
economy.
so in the
Will be
third
discussed.
stage, the Nigerian government will become
Africa,
more
building
involved
back
and
better.
will process
Date,
digital
November 1
payments
to 3rd,
sent and
2021.
received
For
from the
sponsorship
citizens
or
and
further
businesses.
inquiries,
At stage 4, we should expect merchants who are, who are expected to provide low-cost payment, business management software, POS, online transactions, and reconciliation. The 5th and last stage would be retail consumer suite, which is going to be focusing on the architecture, or basically how the digital currency is going to work and flow, and tie together and work like a normal currency. So what about wallets now? There are also different levels or tiers of wallets. Because the deadline is really close, less than a month, there will be an existence of what is called a speed wallet. These wallets are to enable the CBN meet their October 1st deadline. They say it's not in competition with the existing banks, but another means of transaction until the time where other banks can plug their digital wallets with their own infrastructure or technology. So, what are the different wallet levels? The first tier allows users with no bank accounts to use the speed wallet. However, they must submit a passport, their name, place of birth, gender, and phone number. This first tier wallet will have a daily limit of 50,000 naira for sending and receiving. And the minimum requirement for using a first tier wallet is a phone number, which will be validated as your NIN, your national identity number. So, if you haven't registered for your NIN, you probably might want to do so now. The second tier or tier 2 wallet requires that the users must own an account with an existing bank. At this level, they can send and receive 200,000 naira daily with a cumulative balance daily of 500,000 naira, aka
at aecongress.org or call us at +234 906 691 907 649. Attend www.acongress.org, powered by Deloitte and next year SPD. Join in the African economy. And unsettled our economy. As we adapt to this unprecedented reality and start the journey towards recovery, the African Economic Congress invites you to a televised leaders from all sectors of the African economy. It will be a platform where sustainable solutions that enhance the African economy will be discussed. Themed, Accelerate Africa, break of COVID-19 change the world and unsettled our economy. 2020. As we adapt to this unprecedented reality and start the journey towards recovery, the African Economic Congress invites you to a televised and virtual event that will bring together innovative leaders from all sectors of the African economy. It will be a platform where sustainable solutions that enhance the African economy will be discussed. To attend, Accelerate Africa at November 1 to 3rd by 2021 next year. Sponsorship or further inquiries as we take the first step towards strengthening the African economy to create the Africa we want. +234 906 691 2600. Break of COVID-19 change the world. 907 370. As we adapt to this unprecedented reality and start the journey towards recovery, the African Economic Congress invites you to a televised and virtual event that will bring together innovative leaders from all sectors of the African economy. It will be a platform where sustainable solutions that enhance the African economy will be discussed. Themed, Accelerate Africa, building back better. Date, November 1 to 3rd, 2021. For sponsorship or further inquiries, contact us at events@aecongress.org or call us at +234 906 691 2600 or +234 907 370 3649. To attend, register at www.aecongress.org. Powered by Deloitte and next year SPD. Join us as we take the first step towards strengthening the African economy to create the Africa we want. The outbreak of COVID-19 changed the world, and on Saturday,